Hi, this is Kathy. I'm a young adult librarian with the Pikes Peak Library District. To go along with our summer adventure theme, Imagine Your Story, today I'll be showing you how to make meringue shaped like mythological creatures. The ingredients for this recipe are 4 egg whites, 1 cup extra fine sugar, 1/2 teaspoon cream of tartar, and the flavorings and colorings of your choice. The supplies you'll need are a baking sheet and parchment paper, a stand mixer with bowl and whisk attachment, a silicone spatula, a piping bag with round tip, and access to a computer and printer to create a template, unless you have fabulous freehand skills. First, wash your hands, preheat your oven to 225 degrees Fahrenheit, and put that parchment paper on your baking sheet. This recipe calls for 4 egg whites at room temperature. Eggs are easier to separate when they're cold, so for best results, separate the eggs straight out of the fridge and then let the whites sit for about 30 minutes to come to room temp. If you're not experienced with separating eggs, you may want to separate them one at a time into a smaller bowl before adding that to the egg whites in the mixer bowl, just so that if you break in some yolk, you only have to chuck 1 egg instead of potentially all 4. There's a couple of ways to separate an egg, but this is the method I use. Crack the egg and then pass the yolk back and forth between the shells so that all of the white falls into the bowl. You can either trash the yolks or you can save them for another recipe. A lot of small batch cookie recipes call for 1 egg yolk, or some other options are creme brulee or some ice cream recipes. Okay, so I've got my stand mixer with my 4 room temperature egg whites in the bowl, and I've got the whisk attachment on here. So we'll start by just beating the egg whites for about a minute at medium-high until they're frothy. Here's what my frothy egg whites look like. Now I'll add in my 1/2 teaspoon cream of tartar. So the mixer is pretty noisy, so I'm going to pause the mixing for a minute while we talk about sugar. So for this recipe, we have ultra-fine sugar is what it calls for. You can also see this called caster sugar, baker's sugar, quick dissolve sugar, bar sugar. It's finer than granulated sugar, than your table sugar that you usually use. So it dissolves more quickly in recipes like this meringue. If you can't find this at the store, you can take regular granulated sugar. So this is a cup of the quick dissolve sugar. You can take a cup plus about a teaspoon of regular sugar and just hit that in the food processor or a blender or spice grinder for about a minute and use that as a substitute. It won't be exactly the same, but it'll be close enough. If you're using regular granulated sugar, it's going to take a longer time for the meringue to get to the right stage, and it won't look quite as smooth and pretty when you're done. So I'll be adding in this cup of sugar really slowly with the mixer going at medium-high speed, so I'll stream in about a tablespoon at a time. It'll take me maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get to this stage that we're going for, and that's going to depend on your sugar, your mixer. If you're using a hand mixer, it's probably going to take you longer than that. We'll talk about what stage you're going for once I get to that point here. At this point, I've added all my sugar. I'm not done beating it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and take my silicone spatula and just scrape down the whisk and the sides of the bowl. When you're streaming in that sugar, some of it can kick up on the sides of the bowl. And I just want to scrape it down to make sure that we get a really homogeneous mixture. Okay, so what we're looking for here from the meringue, it should be glossy with stiff peaks. So when we're beating egg whites or beating a whipped cream, you'll hear people talk about a couple different stages of peaks. So with stiff peaks, if I take this whisk and turn it upside down, you can see the peaks here, especially this one peak at the top, right? Really stiff. It's not falling down. It's not really curling at the edge at all. Here's another tiny little peak over here. So they're standing straight up. In earlier stages of beating it, if I'd pulled the beater up and turned it upside down, the tops would have flopped over on them. So here we have a glossy meringue with stiff peaks. Then the one other criteria we can look for to make sure it's done as well, you can take just a little bit of the mixture on a fingertip and rub it between two fingers, and it should feel smooth. If you feel any granules in there, it means the sugar isn't finished dissolving. So go ahead and start your mixer back up for about 30 seconds. Try it again. Keep going until it's smooth between your fingertips. Okay, so I have all my meringue in my mixing bowl here, and I'll go ahead and scrape it all down into the center of the bowl off the sides there. So now we can add our coloring and flavor. The amount you add depends on what kind of flavoring you're using. The recipe calls for a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I am using cinnamon oil, which is much more concentrated than an extract. So I'm gonna add 1/8 of a teaspoon and then taste a little of the meringue and see what I think. I might add up to 1/4 of a teaspoon total. If you're using an extract, which is mostly what you'll find at the grocery store, a teaspoon is probably safe. If you're worried that the flavor may be too strong, you can mix in 1/2 a teaspoon, taste it, see what you think, add a little more. For the color as well, I would recommend adding a little bit at a time and mixing it and seeing whether you want to add more color to it or not. And I'm sort of folding in my color and flavor with my spatula here. You could also beat it in with the mixer. You just don't want to overbeat your meringue. So we've got our meringue all colored and flavored. Now it's time to make it mythological. So I've made a template. I searched up some images of silhouettes of phoenixes and kraken and just pasted them into a Word document, making them 3 inches wide. And I'll just put that under the parchment paper on my tray. So I have a piping bag, a piping coupler, and a small round tip. So the coupler is 2 pieces here. I'll put this piece inside the piping bag, and then I just mark with my nail where the bottom of the screws here are, right here. And then I can push the coupler back and just snip the bag at that point. And then that bit comes out of the bag. I can put on the tip and then screw on the rest of the coupler. Now I find it easiest to fill piping bags by flipping up the tip and then putting them into a tall cup or glass and folding the rest of the bag over the edge. And now I can just use my spatula to fill the bag. Now you probably won't get all of the meringue into the bag all at once, even if you're using a larger piping bag like the one I have here. You need to use some judgment here. You will be twisting the top and squeezing the bag, so you don't want it so full that if you squeeze the bag, some of it comes out of the top as well. And if you don't have piping supplies like this, you can use a Ziploc bag and just cut a small hole in the corner instead. I'll call that good for now. So I'll lift the bag out and then just squish all the meringue in there, down towards the bottom, and then twist the top. So I'll set that back in my cup here while I bring over my tray. Okay, so I have my tray here with my parchment paper and the template below it. So I'm just gonna pipe over the template. So what I'll be doing here, I'm gonna gently squeeze the bag with my top right hand, that is also keeping the bag closed, and then I'm using my left hand to help guide the piping tip. So I'll start on this kraken here. Now, depending on what shape you choose and how detailed it is, it's going to take some time and patience. I like to do 2 layers. I could get it to the proper thickness with 1 layer probably, but it might come out a little messier. So that's just my preference, is to do 2 slower layers to try to make sure that I get as much of the detail in there as I can. So there we have 2 layers on this Kraken now. You can just move the template to the next spot over. Just make sure to remove it before you put your tray in the oven. When the tray goes into the oven, it's going to bake for 45 minutes, and then don't open the door, turn off the oven, and leave them in there with the oven off, door closed for another hour. You really have a ton of options with this recipe. Whatever flavor, color, shape you can think of. I did some here, lime gorgon heads and Loch Ness monsters. I did some cotton candy mermaids and unicorns. And then, of course, just out of the oven, the cinnamon krakens and phoenixes. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your treats and share with us what you made.